And staying with the big story from Paris, where heavy shooting has been reported. One policeman has reportedly been killed in that shootout that occurred a short while back and is rather taking place between the French police and terrorists in the northern suburb of Paris. Now, that's the latest update that we have with us, that one policeman has lost his life as a result of that heavy exchange of fire that was reported earlier on. Two suspects may have also been killed. Several policemen, according to unconfirmed reports, have also sustained injuries as a result of that heavy exchange of fire. The shootout broke out during an anti-terrorist police raid in a place called Saint Denis. Some policemen are, as I said before, are injured in that shootout. Reports are also saying that a special armed response unit has taken part in this raid. If you recall, a massive raid has been taking place in several areas by the police officials in France. In fact, a number of people have also been taken into house arrest. The neighborhood has now been completely sealed off. Security forces are conducting these search raids of the area. Saint Denis has, the police in Saint Denis has confirmed to India today that the firing is currently on. In fact, let's just get in a quick word from our deputy editor, Smita Sharma, live from Paris. Smita, what else can you tell us about this heavy shooting that has, that was heard earlier on in the north of Paris, and now we are getting to hear that one policeman has lost his life?
Well, yes, but those are unconfirmed, unofficial reports yet, Avantika.
Okay.
No official, in fact, confirmation has come in from the police regarding the death of that policeman. Some others are also believed to have been injured in this operation, and some in the reports also suggesting that perhaps two of the possible suspects whom the police were after, and because of which these raids were being conducted overnight, that the possible suspects have been brought down. But it will be a while before the situation emerges with greater clarity, because for now, even till 5 minutes back, heavy gunfire could be heard in this area. There are also smokes that can be seen coming out from one particular area of Champs-Élysées, and there are certain perimeters that have been cordoned off. Special forces there landing up and heavily deployed. There's also an aerial surveillance happening through helicopters as well. But, we'll have to wait for more confirmation in terms of the number of people who have been brought down here in this operation.
All right, Smita, just stay with me. We'll just cut across to France 24 and listen into what the media is reporting about that heavy exchange of fire.
The fact that there are still men, several people we suspect, holed up in a raided apartment in the north of Paris. This is happening at Saint Denis, just to the north of Paris, in the last several hours. Witnesses confirming to France 24 that there were gunshots which broke out at about 4:20 this morning, so just over 2 hours ago, and they continued for around half an hour. You can see those live images that we're showing you there on screen. With me here on set is Stephen Carroll, who's following this for us. Stephen, what's the latest? What do we know?
Well, as you say, about 2 hours ago, the first shots were heard in the Saint Denis suburb just north of Paris. It's the shots were heard in a square called Place Jean Jaurès. It's quite near the Basilica in Notre Dame, which is quite the Basilica in Saint Denis, which is quite a well-known landmark in the area. Witnesses speaking to France 24 saying they heard two explosions and shots for about 10 or 15 minutes. We were just hearing from our reporter Johan Baudin, who's speaking on our French channel in the past couple of minutes, that more shots were heard about 15 minutes ago, very briefly. We do know there's a massive police operation underway in the area. It's being led by the RAID police unit there, the Armed Response Elite Police Unit, part of the National Police here in France. They've sealed off a section of the area. They're moving people back. They're telling people to go inside that are standing on the streets there, because there was reports earlier that a building had been evacuated too. There's a helicopter also overhead. Reports from the AFP news agency saying that there has been a police officer suffering minor injuries in this exchange of fire, or these shots. I say we don't actually know if it was an exchange or not. We know that shots were fired from there. Fire crews say they've treated one person for minor injuries, and we're presuming that is the policeman spoken of by those police sources. Several men are holed up at an apartment there. This is, according to the Paris prosecutor's office, this raid is linked to the investigation to Friday's terror attacks. We know that as well, public transport in the area has been stopped. The Line 13 metro runs through that area. That's been stopped. Metros, trams and buses in the area also have been stopped operation. Very heavy police force, an armed police force reported in the area by our reporters.
OK, Stephen, we're going to keep following that story. Of course, you can see those live images on screen. And it comes, Stephen, as well, as police have said that there is now a possible ninth suspect.
Yeah, that's right. This is, again, police sources speaking to French media are saying that a video that was discovered of the black Seat car, one of the cars used by the attackers, which was found in the suburb of Montreuil over the weekend, that the video seems to show 3 people in that car. Now, we know that one of those, or rather we're assuming, according to information we have, that one of those is Brahim Abdeslam, one of the attackers who blew himself up on Boulevard Voltaire on Friday night. Police have already issued an international arrest warrant searching for his brother Salah Abdeslam in connection with this, but there is now, this video is leading police to believe there was a third person in that car, which would make a 9th suspect in this investigation that they are now searching for.
OK, Stephen. Well, Stephen's going to carry on following that story for us, and we'll continue to show those live images from Saint-Denis as well, just north of Paris. But just in case you're just joining us, the latest is that there are still several men, we believe, holed up in a raided apartment just north of Paris. An ongoing gunfight appearing to be...
Okay, so that was the latest information that we just received right now. Heavy shooting that has been heard in a place called Saint-Denis, which is in the northern side of Paris. It's a Paris suburb. Reports are saying that a police operation linked to last Friday's attacks is currently underway. And as you just heard, the newsreader there on French 24 channel reporting that several men are believed to be holed up inside a raided building. There have been massive raids across the city of France in the wake of those barbaric attacks that had rocked the city on Friday, the last of Friday. Fresh shots were heard at about 4:30 in the AM, 4:30 in the morning, and 2 explosions were also heard. We are getting unconfirmed reports of police personnel being critically injured. We still don't have confirmation about the same, but we can see live images there of ambulances. The entire area has been cordoned off. People are being asked to move away. More shots were heard later on. Massive police operation that was underway, and then eyewitnesses reported these gunshots. In fact, witnesses reported gunfire amid the police raid that was going on in the northern Paris suburb of Saint-Denis. Authorities are hunting for 2 suspects from Friday's deadly terror attacks. They are believed to be at large. We were talking to our correspondent Smita Sharma, who is in Paris tracking all the latest developments out there. She was speaking about Salah Abdeslam, who is one of those suspects and is believed to be at large. I can see some security personnel there walking out of the building. We're just trying to wait for more information as to what resulted in, that fire shots that took place a short while back and is also taking place as I speak. People have been asked to move away. A helicopter is also believed to be overhead. There is unprecedented security. I just saw a couple of ambulances rushing to the building. We still don't have confirmation whether it's a residential building or a building of some other kind, but we can see there the barricades being removed to allow the vehicles and the ambulances to go by. I'm just taking you through the visuals that we are getting now live from this area of Saint-Denis. It is in the northern area of Paris. Police have blocked off the roads in Saint-Denis. It's also believed to be the home of the Stade de France sports stadium, where the 3 suicide bombings had taken place last Friday. The French police aren't really commenting on whether any officers have been shot in this massive operation that is underway, but we are getting to believe, according to unconfirmed reports, that 1 policeman has been critically wounded. Several others have sustained injuries. We also just heard on the French television that several men have raided this. Several men are believed to be, holed up inside the building, and that's why a massive operation is underway. Well, that's the latest bit of news that we have for you right now on the channel about the latest reports coming in of heavy shooting that was heard in the northern Paris suburb of Saint-Denis. The police are hunting for the Friday's attackers, who are believed to be at large. French warplanes, have been pounding the Islamic State positions in Syria. We have also been hearing the French President Francois Hollande addressing both houses of parliament and pledging a series of measures that his government intends to put in place to meet the challenges posed by the Islamic State, both domestically and internationally. So we can see there some police personnel there making way for the ambulances to be there and to assist those who have sustained injuries as a result of that heavy shooting that was reported earlier on. In fact, those who were tuned in the morning to India Today would have heard those gunfire shots that was taking place in a police raid. Just to take our viewers through the visuals right now for those who have just tuned into headlines today. Police have raided now a building. In fact, those who are watching India Today, police have carried out this massive operation in a Paris suburb. Witnesses reported a gunfire. And right now we are getting to see images of the entire area to be cordoned off. People have been asked to stay away. We can see a huge presence of police personnel. Fresh shots were heard as early as 4:30 in the morning. 2 explosions are believed to be also have heard, but this is unconfirmed reports. There were also reports of more shots. We don't know if it was an exchange of fire, if it was a one-way shooting, but there are unconfirmed reports coming in of several policemen sustaining injuries. Smita Sharma is now joining us live from Paris to just update our viewers who have tuned into India Today and are tracking these developments. Smita, what's the latest? What's going on? Okay, we have Shiv Arur, editor India Today, now with us. Shiv, dramatic, visuals that I'm getting to see. A huge presence of security forces amid those loud gunshots that were heard earlier on.
That's right, Avantika. It's a live situation that's currently playing out, and these images suggest that that entire area has been cordoned off. This is the area that has been authorized by the Paris police for the press to stand at, and they've received permission to shoot this particular scene because the actual anti-terror operation is happening inside. This is part of the special Paris police raids that have been taking place since the attacks on Friday evening. And over 200 such anti-terror raids have taken place all across France, all across Paris even. And this is one of them in which some resistance has been encountered. 2 people are believed to have been killed. This is a place called Saint-Denis, which is a fairly populated area in the northern part of the capital city of France. And as you can see, it's still a live situation playing out. Extremely tense situation. 2 more deaths. You can only imagine what it's like, Avantika. The country is already on edge. The security agencies are absolutely on alert for every single thing. Currently, the agencies have been hunting for the 9th suspect, who may be holed up in this particular, residential colony in Saint-Denis in North Paris. And this particular operation, this particular cordon and search operation, may be precisely what this is about. This may be about the 9th crucial suspect of the Paris attacks, who they may be hunting down and who could be. There are some local media reports suggesting that the 9th suspect could be, inside, holed up inside the house that has been cordoned off in this particular operation. But disturbing news coming in. 2 people have already been shot. There are reports that a policeman has been injured as well, but there is no confirmation on that just yet. But 2 suspects have definitely been killed already, and we're awaiting more information. As you can see, these are late night images. I mean, very, very early morning images, as a matter of fact, in Paris. Pre-dawn images in Paris, in Saint-Denis, that are actually playing out. The huge police presence. There are ambulances as well. There's a fire truck as well, outside this particular road in Saint-Denis. And we understand, okay, we've got information. We've got a confirmation that 2 suspects have been killed and 1 policeman has been killed. Obviously, there was some kind of an exchange of fire, but while, information is still trickling in, and I wouldn't want to conjecture on precisely how this actually played out. I think the information we have is sufficient to say that this was a confrontation. It was likely, a cordon and search operation in which the police may have tried to storm this particular location where the ninth suspect is believed to have been hiding, and they faced resistance. There must have been some return fire in which tragically one policeman is confirmed killed, but 2 suspects have also been taken out. But it is not known just yet, Avantika, how many more suspects are inside this particular location. So it's a very sensitive, live anti-terror situation playing out in Sondani.
Absolutely, Shiv. While you were speaking, I was just thinking about the Mumbai terror attacks that took place in India in the year 2008. Now, the French terror attacks bears such an eerie resemblance with that of those. And I remember when the terrorists, got inside Nariman House. What happens when, there are terrorists or suspects holed up in a building, and how are, really the police personnel then deployed? If you could just take us through for the benefit of our viewers.
2 things, Avantika. Very good question. Absolutely, you're right. The Paris attacks and their similarity with Mumbai 26/11 have been established. Glaring similarities between the 2 operations. It's really all about causing maximum casualties and basically fighting to the death. If you can escape, great. But if it means a one-way mission, a suicide mission in which you bleed as many citizens as possible, then that's what the mission is really all about. And that's why the gunmen, were finally killed in the terrorists were finally killed in the operation. In this particular situation, it is slightly different from the Paris attack, because in this situation, it's the police who've actually stormed that area. So this was not a live terrorist attack. This was, this is probably terrorists hiding in a particular zone. The police have zeroed in on this location in Sondani based on, their own tactical intelligence about the location and coordinates of that one suspect who could be the 9th suspect that they're looking to arrest in this particular case. And they've stormed that location. So in that sense, it wouldn't really be a terrorist attack. So it would be a police raid, really. The police had the element of surprise, which would explain the, exchange of fire and the policeman been killed, and the fact that 2 suspects have also been, quickly taken out as this raid was actually going on.
Right.
But this also highlights just how dangerous and just how, sensitive these operations are, Avantika. Remember, we're talking about we are 5 days away from what happened in Paris on Friday evening, and things are still very, very much on edge. Now, if 2 suspects have been killed, imagine how terrifying this is for the security agencies. This means that the suspects are still in France. Some of them are still there. They could be mounting, follow-up plans for more attacks. Obviously, some of these suspects are armed and dangerous because, a policeman has been, killed in counter fire as part of this, terror raid. So this is a huge challenge that the French police is facing. I think this highlights it very, very well.
Oh, absolutely, Shiv. Heavy shooting that was heard in the northern suburb of Saint Denis. We can see armed police sealing off the entire area as shots rang out from a building, and we can see a huge security presence there. In fact, let's just get an update from our deputy editor, Smita Sharma, who's joining us live from Paris. Smita, we believe 2 suspects have been gunned down. What is the latest that you're hearing?
No official confirmation yet whether these suspects have been brought down yet or not. Police are yet to come on the record with it, but that's what we are learning. We are also being told that one of the police officers who was in fact, who actually received a fatal gunshots has now succumbed to his injuries, and there are 2 more perhaps who are injured. But once again, as we said, we are awaiting that official word on this. But clearly there was that major explosion that was heard at around 4:30 this morning, which is almost around 2 hours and 10 minutes, ago, and this is around 6 and 40 minutes in the morning as far as the local time in Paris goes. But there were also heavy exchange of firing which continued for almost 2 hours. Police slowly started streaming in large numbers. Even at the moment we see very heavy, in fact, police deployment, special forces deployment through, of course, they have tried to cordon off those areas, try and make sure that there are certain perimeters to which people don't come out. For a bit, in fact, at around 6 o'clock, we saw the neighborhood residents stream out, and they could be seen somebody trying to walk a dog, somebody just out of curiosity, somebody trying to take stock of her shop. But now, in fact, they have been advised by the police to stay indoors and to ensure that the civilian casualties are minimized. But In terms of the ambulances, the fire brigade vehicles, they are all there. They're being deployed. The SAMU vehicles, the special forces. There is an aerial surveillance also that is on at the moment through helicopters. So this is Jean-Jaurès, the specific area that we are talking about in Saint-Denis. This is northern suburb of Paris. And what I'm also learning is that the train stops now. The metro stations to this particular point have been suspended temporarily at the moment. We've seen metro stations and buses, in fact, stopped from flying after those Friday night attacks for a couple of hours. But they resumed their operations by late Saturday evening. Some, of course, traffic movement now has already begun, even as we speak, because this is the time that Parisians start to wake up. Europeans are known for their early breakfast and their early start to the day. What's interesting is that there was a video that had emerged. So now, while initially there was a team of 8 that the police were looking at, responsible for that horrible carnage of Friday that claimed 129 lives, now police are also trying to look for a possible 9th suspect after this video emerged.
Absolutely. And Smitha, what a morning to wake up to, for Parisians, especially who are still picking up the pieces and trying to move on with their lives after those horrific terror attacks. And now to find that they had, fresh reports of shooting that has taken place with 2 suspects believed to have gunned down.
Yes, Antika, for most people who are either visiting Paris or who are residents of Paris, as it's called in French, one of the most beautiful sights is to wake up to the sight of arrondissement or, the beautiful French architecture, the buildings, modern, as well as, the old ones, and to those beautiful sights in Paris. But that seems to be changing slowly over the last few days because the city is constantly on a state of high alert. The nerves are very fragile. For the security forces, overnight raids continuously being conducted, as many as 200 raids conducted over the last 4 days are themselves. Several people, of course, rounded up over suspicion, but their identifications not revealed. Some of them, of course, are allowed to let go as well. Police tried to probe into various angles as far as that Friday massacre is concerned, where terrorists chose to strike at 6 places, which were soft installations in terms of the target selection. They were crowded installations, pizzerias, cafeterias, bars, to that national stadium and Butterfly Theatre, where a gruesome cold-blooded hostage, in fact, came to place and at least 89 innocent lives were lost. So for the Parisians, this is something, there are somebody who's glued to news channels constantly, but that is changing for sure as far as Paris is concerned.
Absolutely. People in Paris, they're picking up the pieces after the city was shattered by terrorist attacks and now waking up to news of heavy shooting that was heard in the northern Paris suburb of Saint-Denis. Well, we'll continue to get you lots more news and updates. We'll also just get some information from France 24 channel there, and let's cut straight to them and find out what this raid was all about and gather some more information.
A large police operation underway in a Paris suburb just to the north of Paris. In fact, gunshots being fired there. Stephen Carroll's joining me here on set. Stephen, the details literally just starting to come in, but what do we know so far?
We do know that this raid is part of the investigations into Friday's attack. That's been confirmed by the Paris prosecutor's office that's leading the investigation. A police source speaking to the AFP news agency says that a police officer has been hurt during this raid in northern Paris. Fire crews telling them that it was a minor injuries. According to eyewitnesses that have been speaking to French media, that they heard shooting start in this area of Seine-Saint-Denis North, just north of Paris, at around 4:25 this morning. And the police and fire crews intervention began just a couple of minutes afterwards. Those people, of course, phoned the police first. And what they heard immediately were shots that continued for about 15 or 20 minutes. 2 eyewitnesses speaking to the BFM TV channel also said that they had heard some explosions. Now, we know that there is a huge police operation underway at the scene at the moment. It involves the Red Elite Police Force, which is part of the National Police Service here in France. There's also a helicopter patrolling overhead the scene at Saint-Denis. An enormous area has been sealed off around where this is happening. It's near a square called Place Jean Jaurès in Saint-Denis. We know that at this stage a lot of the buildings around it have been evacuated. There are said to be a lot of people on the streets surrounding where the area has been sealed off. Public transport in the area has been stopped. The line 13 metro line that runs through that area has been stopped, that portion of it. Bus lines and tram lines have also been stopped too. This, of course, coming after it emerging on Tuesday that police were looking for a so-called ninth suspect in the attacks. Now, this is after a video that was found, according to police sources speaking to French media, that seemed to indicate a third person in that black Seat car that was found in Montreuil. That is now another person the police are looking for, in addition to Salah Abdeslam, who, of course, an international arrest warrant was issued for on Sunday evening.
All right, so that police operation was part of the investigations into last Friday's terror attacks on French soil. And in fact, a huge police operation is still underway. It's part of the National French Police Force. We do believe that one police officer has been unfortunately, critically injured as a result of that heavy shooting that was reported earlier on. And we also believe, according to unconfirmed reports, that several others have also sustained injuries. All the surrounding buildings have been evacuated. The entire area has been cordoned off. We'll continue to get you lots more news and updates on that, news of gunshots that were heard a short while back in a place called Saint-Denis, right here on India Today.
जहाँ तक याद आती रहेगी।